Today on this special Good Day PA, we'll hear from specialists at the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic and learn how they transform lives.
The Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic is dedicated to improving the quality of life of infants, children, and adults through comprehensive coordinated treatment of craniofacial conditions resulting from congenital differences, trauma, and disease.
The nonprofit organization was founded in 1938 in Lancaster. The clinic is the oldest facility of its type in the United States dedicated to cleft and craniofacial care.
Today we'll meet families whose lives have been changed thanks to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic.
And throughout the show, if you would like to make a donation to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic, go to abc27.com/donate. Good morning. Thanks so much for being with us. It's a Good Day PA. I'm Amy Kemp.
And I'm Deborah Pinkerton. The Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic is dedicated to providing comprehensive treatment of cleft lip, cleft palate, and other craniofacial anomalies.
Yes, the clinic has brightened the futures of so many, not only in central Pennsylvania, but around the world. Dennis Owens joins us with more. Hi, Dennis.
Hi, ladies. Thanks so much. Well, about 20,000 people every day drive by the world-class clinic, which is a hidden gem located right in the heart of Lancaster, and it provides infants, children, and adults with treatment of cleft lip and cleft palates. Now, I have been intimately familiar with the place for about 15 years. More on that in a moment. But about 4 years ago, we visited the clinic to give our viewers an inside look. The Stevens family calls it their Smileversary. Adorable pictures of daughter Araya and son R.E. Lots of grinning and joy. Happy family photos, in stark contrast to the first images of R.E.
We were originally told that he would have a cleft lip and palate at just 12 weeks. When we were first given the diagnosis, it really was just shock.
Shock led to fear, which led the Stevens to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic.
He was just a few days old. I mean, they saw us immediately. I actually think we came here before we even saw a pediatrician.
The Stevens lived just miles away, but had never heard of it until they needed it.
This place is an absolute gem and it provides world-class care. We have about 20,000 people who drive past our front door on Lime Street every day, and the vast majority have no idea what we do within the confines of this building.
But to medical professionals near and far, the Cleft Palate Clinic put Lancaster on the map.
When my grandfather set up the clinic, it was the first one in the world that was dedicated to the care of kids with facial birth defects.
H.K. Cooper, Rusty Long's grandfather, started the clinic in 1938 and started the team concept of bringing the necessary disciplines, surgery, dentistry, orthodontics, speech, audiology, and more, together under one roof.
They are unique problems and they require us to collectively be able to discuss and come up with unique solutions to the unique problems. How are you? Do you do these? Yeah.
It's world-class care without a world-class price tag.
All of the patients that we see with clefts are eligible for medical assistance. So we're operating on medical assistance fee schedules, which everybody knows are not really adequate.
Thanks to friends and donors, the clinic has kept its doors open and kept its independence, a rarity in today's healthcare environment.
We're not being pulled along with a major organization that might one day like you and the next day decide that you're losing too much money and that you're cut.
But dollars are tight and facility improvements are desperately needed. Modern equipment, a cheerful family space, ceilings without holes or watermarks.
I find that very ironic that we care for people's appearance and helping them achieve their maximum capacity in life, and yet our own facility doesn't achieve that.
I see some tupers in there.
But to the moms and dads of kids with clefts, this is a place of beauty and comfort at a vulnerable time.
And you will have parents come into this clinic who are in tears because they were just at the supermarket and they had a teller who said, "What's wrong with your child?"
Correcting that wrong drives this dedicated team.
I'll try and speak to that, but I still get so emotional about it.
We're almost there.
Dr. Sampson did RE surgery and countless others.
When that child is back, that kid is my kid. And I'm going to do for your child exactly what I would do for my own child. I'm not going to cut corners. We're not going to take chances. We're going to keep things safe and do as perfect a job as we can possibly do.
That also, I feel like, makes me so emotional, just knowing that there's that level of support.
Support and success, fixing faces and changing lives.
Anytime somebody says he had a cleft and you show them the before and after pictures, it's incredible what they were able to do.
When we look back at those first pictures, it is amazing what it looks like today versus how he was born.
When they start here, the cleft that they come with is kind of one of the defining features of their lives and their families' lives. When they leave here, the cleft is a non-issue. It's not a defining feature.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Joining us is Liz Prada, Executive Director of the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic. Of course, Dennis Owens also. We should mention, we were talking about the repairs, the modernizations needed. It's been done.
Yes, the place looks amazing now, right?
Correct. We completed a $4.5 million capital campaign and completely redid the building top to bottom.
Oh, how wonderful.
No falling ceiling tiles or empty ceiling tiles. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Well, that is a gift. Now, this is close to your heart. Tell viewers why.
It is indeed. It was about 16 years ago that we learned that our son had a cleft lip and palate. We didn't really even know what that meant.
Sure.
At least I didn't. I peripherally knew what it was, but didn't. And we learned, we were prepared to go anywhere, thinking, are we going to go to Children's Hospital in Philadelphia or somewhere else in the state? I'm from Philadelphia originally. We were going to go wherever. Well, we learned that right there in Lancaster is one of the greatest cleft lip and palate places. That began a relationship 16 years ago because it was even before he was born.
Yeah.
They were helpful. And in fact, we have an appointment tomorrow. But my son had several surgeries, and all I can say, if you take nothing else away from this whole thing, these people are amazing, not only in their skill and their talent and their precision, but in the love that they show these kids. It is just, it's, as the doc said in the story, we're going to treat them like it's our own. And I will tell you, you're a parent, you know, handing a child over at 3 months, 90 days to have surgery, the first one, is
Terrifying.
Terrifying is a great word.
Yeah.
And then another one at a year, terrifying. But they've handled it beautifully, and that relationship goes to what, only 18 years old, right?
Yep.
So my son is in ortho, and what I can also tell you is a younger colleague of ours, reporter, who spent time with us as a family a couple weekends ago, she's like, he has a cleft lip and palate.
Nice.
So he's now he'll be 15, but
Job well done.
yeah. So I guess that's the best endorsement we can give.
When somebody asks you, what is the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic? Kind of like Dennis said, you kind of have heard about what a cleft palate is, but you don't really know until you experience it. Like, how do you answer that question?
Sure. So the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic is the oldest facility of its type in the United States, and we are a multidisciplinary clinic that provides coordinated medical, dental, and allied health care for individuals who are born with facial differences, such as cleft lip, cleft palate, or a combination of the two conditions together. We also treat patients who come to us with a number of genetic syndromes, and then we also take care of people as well who are affected by facial trauma, which may affect the structure of the face, as well as diseases. And those could include things like cancer, benign tumors, or other conditions that can cause disfigurement.
And from a parent's perspective, if I could just interject.
Sure.
What she basically just said is there's multiple disciplinary things that you have to deal with. It's one-stop shopping for the parent and the family. So you go in and you see all the people, and then they get together and put the game plan together. If you were a parent trying to go to each of those individually and figure it out, it would be daunting.
Yes, and you'd miss steps. It's just
Yeah.
impossible. But we see the pictures, so we know a little bit, but what really is a cleft lip or cleft palate?
Yeah, absolutely. So a cleft of the face is essentially, in the most basic terms, a hole or a gap in the facial tissue. Most clefts develop very, very early on in facial development, generally in the first part of the first trimester of pregnancy. So those can even occur before a mother knows that she's pregnant with her child. A cleft of the lip is sometimes identified on an ultrasound. So in your case, and in a lot of our families' cases, we actually meet our families before the child ever comes into this world. And we work with those families from that prenatal period through birth, all the way through early adulthood, or whenever that child achieves what we consider to be full rehabilitation.
How would you say it changed your life or your son's life?
Well,
really?
again, what you can say is we have people that aren't even aware that he has a cleft lip and palate. It doesn't just, and they're not just changing faces; they're changing lives. In some countries, where they don't have the access to this kind of care. A cleft lip and palate is, I won't say a death sentence, but they're shunned and they're not fixed, and those people have to live with that for their entire life. And you can't say enough. In fact, I get choked up thinking about the love that these people show to kids that aren't their own, but they treat them like they are their own.
Oh my goodness. And I understand that the clinic has helped so many families here in central Pennsylvania, 45 of 67 counties, 10 other states. I mean, what does this look like?
Yeah, so obviously we care for patients who come from a multitude of locations. So being the first clinic of our type in the United States, historically we saw patients from all over the country as well as all over the world. And now there are 3 craniofacial centers that are similar to ours that are located throughout the state. So one to the east side of the state, one to the west side. And so our general geographic area is central PA, as you mentioned. But anybody from any location can come to see us. And one unique part of our clinic is that we accept patients regardless of their ability to pay. We work really hard to remain in network with a variety of insurance plans, Medicaid, the Children's Health Insurance Program, and then we also accept uninsured families as well. In terms of the care, you mentioned that we provide coordinated team care. So we all work together and we're all on site to see all of our patients in the same visit. If you were to do this as a parent on your own, you'd see a double-digit number of doctors' offices, and then all of those doctors would then be left to coordinate amongst themselves, and that can be really daunting.
Absolutely,
and
because
so,
they have more than one patient
Yeah.
to coordinate.
Well, and I
right?
want to point one thing out too. There's a lot more money to be made in other forms of plastic surgery than what they're doing. This is truly a labor of love for them, and we certainly greatly appreciate it.
Oh, tremendous. This is going to be a great show. It's just getting started. Thank you so much, Dennis, for being with us.
Thank
and Liz,
you.
we're going to talk to you more about the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic after the break. If you would like to make a donation to the clinic, go to abc27.com/donate. Now, coming up later, you'll meet the Faust family. Stacy and Joseph are very familiar with the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic. This is where they took their 2 sons for treatment. You'll see their journey later on this special Good Day PA. Welcome back to the special Good Day PA. Back with me is Liz Prada, Executive Director of the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic. As we learned, it seems like many different kinds of healthcare professionals come together to be involved with the care of a child with clefts. Talk a little bit more about that.
yeah, so we have a total of 13 different specialists who are present for our team visits, and those occur every Tuesday at the clinic. 3 of those specialists are always present, and they're actually required for approval as a team. That's the plastic surgeon, and we work very closely with Penn State Hershey to coordinate those services. An orthodontist who comes in to see us from a community-based private practice, and then a speech pathologist who's a staff member at the clinic as well. In addition to those primary services, we have additional services as well. Those include pediatric dentistry, general dentistry, audiology, nursing care, a social worker who's really important in terms of navigating some of those more complex psychosocial conditions, and oral surgery as well as our support staff. So a lot of people go into a very complicated process.
No kidding, a lot of people. And this approach to care, it seems unique. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So as we mentioned earlier, we're the first clinic of our type in the United States. But what's so great about what we've discovered in terms of this collaboration is that actually is applied at other locations as well. So there are 3 craniofacial centers in the state of Pennsylvania, but there are also about 180 nationwide.
Wow.
And that concept is also applied in other countries as well. So we're really trying to bring that high standard of care across the world.
What's interesting is this is an independent clinic, right? What does that really mean? Like, what's the benefit of that?
Yeah, so historically, the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic was born before the existence of large medical centers, so even before the existence of Penn State Hershey or Penn State Health. So it's a little bit of a historical situation that left us in this particular situation. But we are a standalone clinic, and the beauty of that is that we have a lot of flexibility and a lot of agility to take care of each individual patient's needs. That being said, we do work very closely with a medical center that has access to all of the higher levels of surgical care that we need to support our patients' full set of needs.
And just talking about the families, the whole family, right? It's uncertain when you get a diagnosis like this, when they first hear that their child has, a cleft palate or other craniofacial difference. How are you able to help them, the parents?
Yeah, absolutely. So we understand that it can sometimes be scary or potentially even daunting to get an unexpected diagnosis before your baby comes into the world or shortly after your baby is born. So we want to be with that family as soon as that diagnosis is delivered. For those families who do receive that diagnosis with an ultrasound, we provide prenatal counseling for them. So we always make sure that our feeding specialist, who's a very specialized speech and language pathologist, meets with mom and dad early on, as well as our social worker, so that parents can deal with some of the stressful emotions that may come with that diagnosis. So as soon as that baby is born, mom and dad are prepared with some of the feeding challenges that may exist.
Sure.
Having a hole in the roof of the palate makes it very difficult or almost impossible at times to nurse. And so we have specialized bottle feeding systems that help that baby to grow and develop and gain nutrition without expending too much energy.
It's just terrific. Thank you so much. Great to have you with us today. If you at home would like to make a donation to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic, go to abc27.com/donate. We'll be right back with more Good Day PA.
Welcome back. A Cumberland County family knows the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic very well. Stacy and Joseph Faust have 2 children born with a cleft lip and a cleft palate. They share their journey.
Ready?
Yep. The outdoors is where the Faust family likes to be.
It's just fun to see our family having such a good time playing with each other.
8-year-old Isaac and 17-year-old Noah are on the same team. They have the same motivation to win, not only on the court, but in life. They were both born with facial birth defects.
I was born with a cleft lip and cleft palate.
I think there was like a little line between here, and I think my lips were split apart a little bit.
Stacy and Joseph found out about the birth defect in both sons through ultrasounds.
The midwife did my ultrasound and found it by their contour. We had no idea. We started researching. It was nothing we were familiar with. We just knew feeding issues, and we knew it was going to be, of course, cosmetic.
Initially, Noah needed multiple surgeries. At the time, they lived on the West Coast.
First one was at 6 months for Noah, and it was the lip repair. And then at 9 months, they did his soft palate, and then they chose to do it. Then at 12 months, they closed up the hard palate, which was the back palate.
Once moving to central Pennsylvania, they turned to Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic for additional help for Noah and Isaac.
So Isaac, he was born with a cleft lip. His palate was fine.
One surgery corrected Isaac's cleft lip.
It's kind of like they stuck my 2 lips back together, and then they just made it stay there so it wouldn't come back out or something.
Specialists who knew exactly how to handle Isaac and Noah's needs.
I've never really felt worried or things in there, even when they're talking about surgeries or stuff. It's always okay, I know they're gonna handle it and it's all gonna be fine in the end.
It's pretty good. Everybody's kind and nice.
The Faust family says the clinic is more than kind and nice. They're like family.
We know that what they say or what they suggest is the best thing for them. And it's great knowing that you have that source and it's not an extra concern.
The fact where they have such great professionals and stuff that are able to help you make that transition from having cleft lip and cleft palate and having holes or cuts in your face and stuff that aren't supposed to be there, and how they're able to fix all that. That way you're able to live a very normal and functional life is really amazing, and I'm very thankful for the people that were able to help me with that.
Society has this view of what's normal, and you kind of want your kid just to fit in and be normal. And the Cleft Clinic at Lancaster has done a great job with all the surgeries and allow them to be as normal as possible in their daily lives. So they're doing great.
The family says the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic is not only good with the medical issues, they also help families with insurance and all the paperwork that goes along with it. The clinic has certainly made a difference for the Faust family. Stay with us. We will be right back with more of this special Good Day PA.
Welcome back to this special Good Day PA. Joining me now is Dr. Thomas Sampson, Surgeon-in-Chief at Penn State Health Children's Hospital. Also, again, Liz Prada, Executive Director of the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic. Doctor, you're here to talk about this amazing partnership between the clinic and Penn State Health. You help families like the Faust family that we just saw. Can you talk about your role and the impact that it has and how you work with the team at the clinic?
Happy to. So what I would say is this is truly a labor of love, and in the vignette that we had before, we talked about that. And it's hard to put it into words and to make it so that people can understand it. But I would say working with someone like Liz and working hand in hand, and you'll meet Rachel a little bit later, we all just, it is a joy to come to work. And so when you can say that about your job, I think you've hit a home run. And every day we get to come in and work with these kids and provide that level of care. It goes beyond what you could ever imagine. And it is, it's a very rewarding connection. We make these relationships with families, and so you meet the families when they're at the lowest of lows. They're so scared, they're so worried. And Dennis put it very well. You become a part of that family and you stay with them and you watch and you're part of that transition as that child grows and matures, and all of the ups and downs that they go through, we go through with them. So from a surgeon standpoint, to be able to provide a very small piece of that correction is beyond words. It's so fulfilling. It's hard to explain it to someone who doesn't get to do it. So.
Yeah, for real. And what's that kind of partnership mean for you? I mean, it must mean so much.
Oh, absolutely. So I would say that our two institutions are really married to one another. So the clinic is the location for the non-surgical care, but all of those high-level surgeries are taking place at Penn State Health with Dr. Sampson, his partner, Dr. Kathy Henry, as well. And without their support and their collaboration, we would not be able to do what we do. So we're really in debt to you.
Yeah.
And Dr. Sampson, when your child is born with a cleft palate, that's overwhelming. When your child's born with any sort of disability, it is so overwhelming. In terms of cleft palate, what should parents be making sure that they address, what questions should they ask in looking for treatment?
Sure. Well, I think the most important piece is find someone who has experience. And so what the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic provides is exactly that. So we are an American Cleft Palate Association accredited team, which is a very important piece that ensures that the parents are going to have the highest level of care across multiple disciplines. What Penn State Health and the Children's Hospital in particular provides with us is an extension of all of that. So at Penn State Health in the Children's Hospital, we have different providers that have expertise across every specialty, and many times people in our own backyard don't know who we have in these settings. So for example, we have genetic conditions and syndromes for some of our children, and they need the attention of a specialist in neurosurgery or cardiac surgery. Pediatric urology. We have every one of those at a pediatric subspecialized level right at Penn State. And so for us to be able to reassure the parents and say, yes, we understand these things, but I have a colleague who I would trust with my own child right here, and we're going to take care of you. And so Penn State provides that incredible resource to our team at Lancaster Cleft that allows us to provide a level of care that is I don't want to say unequaled, but it's at the highest levels of that kind of team care in the U.S.
And your commitment to this it's so obvious, and you actually have more of a commitment today. You have a generous gift for the clinic, I understand. Yeah. Bring out that big check.
Yeah, I will be glad to. So on behalf of the Penn State Health Children's Hospital and Dr. Yatin Vyas, who is our children's service line leader, we're presenting a check today to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic in the amount of $5,000, and underscores the connection and the dedication of our two groups to provide further care for the children that we care for.
It's a beautiful thing,
Thank you.
Beautiful thing. Thank you to both of you. We'll be right back with more of the special Good Day PA.
Welcome back. A York County family was eager to adopt a young boy from China. They were aware of his cleft lip and cleft palate and already had a plan in place to take care of it. Here's Will Hinkson's story. 18-year-old Will Hinkson is preparing for his debut at St. Vincent College. As a freshman, he's looking forward to playing on the school's tennis team.
I love the sport of tennis, and I definitely feel that it'll boost my resume to going into the future, saying that I played in a college level of sports.
Will's parents are so proud of his accomplishments.
I think it'll be good for him because he'll start out college with sort of a core set of friends. So I think it's going to be very good for him.
An exciting future. Will shares how his journey started.
I'm adopted from China. I was adopted when I was 2 years old, and I was born with a cleft lip and a cleft palate.
His cleft lip was repaired in China, and when we brought him home, took him immediately to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic.
They have a full staff. They looked at everything. They looked at his hearing, audiology, teeth, bone structures.
Doctors at Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic put a plan in place.
It was September of that year that he had his cleft palate repaired at the Hershey Medical Center.
Several years later, doctors performed an alveolar bone graft surgery.
That happened when I was around 7, so they took a bone from my hip and then put it up into my mouth area.
That is to fill in, where the cleft palate was so that they can start doing work, with dental.
Doctors monitored Will's hearing too.
He now has a hearing aid, which, he kind of thinks he's like the bionic man now, so he has this Bluetooth device in his ear.
Also, braces were needed to align Will's teeth. All necessary steps taken to give Will the best outcome.
It's definitely made me feel comfortable, knowing that they're there to help me through the things I need.
For having several kids, working parents, it's a godsend to have one place that you can take your kid or your children to do this.
The Cleft Palate Clinic, they just, like I said, they look at every child, not just the cleft lip, not just the cleft palate, but the whole child.
Will has a message for anyone who may be going through a similar journey.
No matter the challenges you face, just have hope, keep doing what you're doing.
I'm so proud of him, of everything he has accomplished. And that's why I think when he said about hope, he's just trying to tell kids out there, don't give up.
And Will is scheduled to have his final surgery. Doctors will realign his jaw and nasal passage. We wish Will the very best. Stay with us. We will be right back with more of this special Good Day PA. Welcome back to this special Good Day PA. Joining me right now is Nicole Rosenberger. Thanks for being with us.
Sure.
You are a foster parent, and 18 years ago, Paige was born. You adopted her. Talk to me about your situation.
Yeah, so Paige actually came here as a refugee and then entered the foster care system and then came to my home.
And you were aware that she was involved with the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic. Tell me about that involvement. How did that all happen?
Yep, I was dropped right into there. Paige was already being seen at the Cleft Palate Clinic and had already had her first surgery.
And tell me, what was her situation? Did she have a cleft lip and a cleft palate? How many surgeries?
No, Paige actually had a submucal cleft palate, which is a cleft palate that can't be seen from someone else. But it does affect feeding when they're an infant, and it, for her, severely affected her speech.
And talk to me about the surgeries. You said she had one surgery.
She had one surgery that reconstructed the palate, and then about 4 years later, she had another surgery that shortened the palate to enable her speech to continue to progress.
And in addition to this, when we were talking, you said that she did have some other needs as well. Talk to us about that.
Yes, so Paige is hard of hearing, so the hearing factor also came in. So between the repair of the cleft palate and her Baha implantation and the speech therapy that we received there at the Cleft Palate Clinic was phenomenal. There was just a tremendous difference in her speech before and after receiving speech services there.
And I know when we were talking, you had mentioned that it's great having everything really under one roof.
Absolutely. You go there for one day and you're able to see all the different providers. They come in and they assess the situation, and then at the end of the day, they work together to discuss each one of their patients of the day and come up with a game plan going forward, which I think is incredible, just to have that cohesion of care. It's great for the parent, and I think it also gives the best outcome for the patient.
Paige is 18 now. How is she doing?
She is. She's doing fantastic. She is enrolled in an IU13 classroom for the deaf and hard of hearing, and her speech continues to progress, and she's a very happy, well-adjusted young lady.
Oh, great, and we're seeing pictures of her. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing your daughter's story with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. And if you would like to make a donation to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic, go to abc27.com/donate. Stay with us. We will be right back with more Good Day PA. Welcome back. As we have heard, ultrasounds are able to detect craniofacial conditions, and that was the case for a Harrisburg woman. Sarah Scholl joins us with more.
Thanks, Deborah. Lakeisha Pate was excitedly awaiting the birth of her first girl, Araya. During a routine appointment, doctors discovered the baby had a cleft lip. Here's Araya's story.
Araya Pate is your average, energetic 10-year-old girl. Her interests include
gymnastics and running and flipping.
Her mother, Lakeisha, never knew what life would be like for Araya. While she was pregnant, she found out her daughter had a birth defect.
At my 20-week anatomy scan is when I found out.
Shortly after birth, Araya needed her first operation.
She was 11 weeks old and 11 pounds, and I just had to watch my baby go down the hallway. The first surgery was to repair her cleft lip, and she had a rhinoplasty as well.
The first surgery was exactly what Araya needed. The next surgery would be when she was 7 years old. Lakeisha found a unique way to help her through this procedure. Together, they wrote a book.
I just wanted to introduce it to people who may not have heard of it or seen it.
It's a story to help everybody know what a cleft is, and it's about me.
With all the surgeries behind her, Araya is free to focus on what she loves.
She's done amazing. She's beautiful, she's a gymnast, she's smart, she's a great student, she's an awesome daughter and a wonderful sibling.
As you can see, Araya is a happy, healthy 5th grader with a long gymnastics career ahead of her. Stay with us. We'll be right back with this special Good Day PA.
Welcome back to this special Good Day PA. Joining me now is Rachel Charnetska, audiologist at Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic. Why is audiology care so important for children with cleft? I did not realize this.
Yeah, so children who have a cleft of the palate have an anatomical basis for hearing loss. The eustachian tube, the muscles that open and close the eustachian tube are not attached, and that results in middle ear fluid buildup and hearing loss.
So you meet with parents, a very little one, maybe just had a baby born with cleft. How are you able to help them?
So initially, we talk about the newborn hearing screening, the results of that, and then schedule some very objective tests to evaluate the brain's response to sound to make sure there's no underlying permanent hearing loss. But most importantly, other than kind of giving them kind of the importance and the background of how hearing can be affected when there is a cleft of the palate, I really want to stress that they're part of, this specialized team care of providers.
It's so interesting to me how much goes into this. Like, I'm learning so much today, because I think to the average person, when you see a child with, or a picture at least, you think it's just like something with their lips, right? And you don't realize everything that goes into it. How are you able to help them over time?
Over time, it really changes. First off, the types of hearing testing changes with their age, but also the likelihood that they will have middle ear fluid. And the impacts of that change over time. So initially doing some newborn hearing testing. As they get older, we're playing games to evaluate hearing. But ultimately, the goal as the audiologist is to help make sure they have access to speech sounds during that critical language period, and also to make sure they can maximize their potential academically.
For you, what does it mean to have this clinic?
Well, for me, it's just an amazing place to come to work. For our community, it's a great resource. It's really special that it was the first location for a cleft craniofacial team in the world, and it really is world-renowned. So it's a wonderful place to come to work. We're all like truly a team and a family, and I think our patients feel that, and we feel that every day when we come in.
Well, we've seen patients today and we see what it's meant for them. Can you tell me about a child, a patient that was just really rewarding for you?
I really couldn't single out one patient. You know, each child when they come in, we really just kind of fall in love with them individually and follow them. For me, a lot of times they're dismissed from audiology maybe around age 10, and it's bittersweet because I've followed them from those first days after they were born, and I'm excited that they're not having any issues with regard to hearing, but I'm always kind of tracking them down the hall in years to come when they're in ortho or something else.
Being like, hey, remember me? I mean, I'm sure they remember you always, but yeah, letting go. I mean, that's hard, right?
Yeah.
But you've had such an impact on their lives. It's incredible. Thank you for being on the show with us today. Really good to have you.
Thank you.
If you would like to make a donation to the Lancaster Cleft Palate Clinic, go to abc27.com/donate. Stay with us. We'll be right back with more of this special Good Day PA.